Hey, Bill O'Reilly here. Welcome to the No Spin News, Monday, February 28th, 2022. Stand up for your country. So what's going on with President Biden, really? That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. Well, he's engaged in this Ukraine thing. It's not a phony thing where he doesn't really know what's going on. He does. How much he is making decisions on his own is impossible to say. I wouldn't think that would be at the top of his chart. He's basically a front man for the USA. Today at 11:15, he talked with allies and partners about Ukraine. This was a secure call. They call it a secure call. That means no transcript. As usual stuff, but there were inroads made over the weekend about Putin. And also Biden today is getting ready for his State of the Union speech tomorrow. Now, I'm going to make a prediction about that speech, and it's based on my perception of his energy level. So Trump just never ended, right? It was like he dazed the State of the Union. He goes on and on and on and on. In the inaugural speech that Biden gave last year, it was 20 minutes. And then he gave another speech April 28th last year. It was an hour and 4 minutes, okay? So he doesn't like to go too long, and his staff knows the longer he goes, the more trouble he's going to have reading the teleprompter, and, that doesn't look good. So I'm predicting 45 minutes, maybe, for the State of the Union. And that's short. Now, what is he going to say? Let me get to that later. Let me get to that later because I have some ideas. And tomorrow we're going to devote a lot of the program to analyzing what Biden is likely to say at the State of the Union. And of course, we'll have the best analysis of the speech itself. But there's an interesting poll, ABC News, liberal news organization, liberal company, Disney, no doubt about it. I mean, it just nobody in the structure that I know who's conservative at all. All right, so it's straight down the line liberal company. But to their credit, this is a Washington Post ABC News poll. Their sampling is fair. Democrat 27, Republican 26, Independent 40. That is a fair sample. 1,011 adults, not registered voters, not likely voters, just adults. All right? Random poll. First question, do you approve of the job Joe Biden is doing in office? 37% approve, 55 disapprove, no opinion 7. That is a disastrous number for Mr. Biden. Second question, do you approve or disapprove of the way Biden is handling the economy? 37 approve, same as job. Disapprove 58, no opinion 5. Another disastrous number. Question number 6, do you approve or disapprove of the way Biden is handling the coronavirus pandemic? Approve 44, disapprove 50, no opinion 5. 7, do you approve of or disapprove of the way Biden is handling the situation involving Russia and Ukraine? Approve 33, disapprove 47, no opinion 20. It's really too soon to evaluate. I would have been no opinion in that if they had asked me. 5 days is too soon. Okay. Next question is the U.S. House of Representatives being held today. Would you vote for Democrats or Republicans in your congressional district? Democrats 42, Republicans 49. So as I said, election is about 8 months away. Is that it? March, 6 September. Yeah, about 8 months. Democrats are worried. Next question under Biden, do you think America's leadership in the world has gotten stronger, weaker, or remained the same? Stronger 23%, weaker 48%, same 26%. Do you think Biden is a strong leader? Next question, yes, 36, no, 59. Disaster. These are all disasters. Okay, this number. Now, why? So I wrote a column over the weekend called Biden, His Time, Putin's Biden, His Time. And it shows you why. Why Biden's weakness is harming not only the American people, but everybody in the world. I think I laid out a pretty fair case. Let me know. All right, Putin's Biden, his time is the column posted on BillO'Reilly.com. All right, now I'm going to give you a lot of facts about Ukraine and Russia. So if you do have a pen and paper handy and you're interested, but I get an awful lot of mail that, and I know, running this facts by you, you can't absorb like this. Why I say, write it down if you're really interested. So I get a lot of mail and they don't get the information flow. But I'm going to speak a little slower so everybody can get. Now, the first one is casualties. So this is according to the Reuters news service. Do I believe Reuters? I mean, they have reporters in Ukraine in the field. They do. So they say 102 Ukrainian civilians have been killed, 304 injured. Seems low to me, but that's what Reuters says. Refugees, more than 400,000 people have left Ukraine, according to Reuters. Most have fled to Poland. Others went to Hungary, Moldova, Slovakia, Romania, all bordering countries, obviously, to Ukraine. The refugee number comes from the Washington Post. Yeah, I mean, that's 400,000. And Reuters, they're both in the same ballpark. So I think that's accurate. Casualties. So how many Russians have been killed? There's no reliable data. The only number we have comes from the Ukrainian government. It's not reliable. They say more than 5,000 Russians have been killed. I can't believe that. I don't think so. But I'm just using my educated guess factor here. Now, over the weekend, there was a lot of stuff that happened. So Putin himself and Lavrov and all his stooges are now being sanctioned personally. That means they can't go anywhere of note. I mean, I guess they go to Shanghai, but who would want to at this time of year? But Europe and the USA and Canada and Australia, they can't go. All right, so the EU is going to freeze Putin and his cronies' assets. So Putin's got a lot of money in Switzerland, as I reported months ago, and it's going to get frozen. The Swiss have stepped up. I'll tell you about that in a moment, because they're not members of NATO, remember that. And they're not members of the EU either. Switzerland goes its own way because it's a banking country. It's all money in Switzerland, yodeling and money. That's it. In the UK, Boris Johnson's slapping sanctions because Russia, the oligarchs, have a lot of property in London. Now, a lot of it's, in trusts and under phony names and all that, but Johnson says he's going to punish Putin and his oligarchs who have property in the UK. All right, the Russian planes now cannot land in a lot of countries. Still, they can land here in New York and Dulles and Washington because they're trying to get Americans out of Russia. So the Russian planes still are landing, but in a lot of European countries, they can't land. So you can see, it's a noose. And the most important thing is coming up. So the SWIFT banking system, whereby you can move money fast, Russia can't participate any longer. And that came from the EU, not Biden. EU dropped that. So now the banks in Russia are paralyzed. Okay, they can't lend money. Interest rates have doubled in Russia, if you can believe it. All right, Switzerland, so it announced today that it would freeze Russian financial assets in the country and setting aside its deeply rooted neutrality. So all the assets, all the money that the oligarchs and Putin himself have in Switzerland frozen. Now, there is a wink on this. They'll be able to get that money back when the situation, stabilizes. Is that the right word? But for now, the money that the Russians have in Switzerland is frozen. Good. But here's the worst. Ready for the worst on Russia? So the Federation International of Football Association, FIFA, FIFA, is suspending Russia from competing. Can't play any games. Now, you say, well, why is that more important than financial? The people of Russia, all right? Remember, all they hear is that Russia's the greatest guy, Russia's doing the right thing. That's all they hear. But now their soccer team can't play. And they're looking around going, what? Because that's their only entertainment in the sports realm, these international games. And there's a big tournament on March 24th in the European World Cup. They were supposed to play Poland. No. Okay, they're not gonna have a match. They're kicking them out. So the Russian people now know that Putin's actions are serious because their football team can't play. If they hadn't known it already, because in Russia, it's bad. The currency declined 30% today, on top of what happened last week. The ruble worth nothing. And the interest rates, as I said, have doubled. So there is no win here for Putin. I'll get to that in a moment. But Putin is basically on a road to destruction himself. It's not like he's going to come back. He's done. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. So the UN, as we all know, is a symbolic organization. It has no power. But they basically are discussing over there a war crimes tribunal for Putin. Now, China would block that. It's not going to happen. But it's out there. It's like Putin saying, well, I got my nuke guys on alert. Okay, fine. And that's supposed to scare everybody. And it does. I mean, Putin, if he's a madman, he could be, he could launch a nuke if he's crazy. So the UN saying, hey, we're going to discuss a war crimes tribunal for Putin. Amac, the Association of Mature American Citizens, is the leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization in America. I am an Amac member, and you should be too. Amac gives you access to exclusive benefits, insightful takes on today's news, and a magazine full of uncensored content that you will not find anywhere else. Most importantly, Amac is working tirelessly to preserve the freedoms enshrined and secured by our Constitution. Amac has become one of the most impactful organizations in America because more than just talk, Amac gets things done. They are pushing back against the efforts to defund our police, weaken the borders, and replace your freedom with government control. But they need your help. Stand with me and more than 2 million patriots and join Amac today at amac.us. That's AMAC.us. amac.us, and tell them O'Reilly sent you. All right, inside Russia itself, we don't get any reportage. There's no free press there. It's like China. You can't get any valid information. So the ruble, we know, because that's a world market, fell 30% today, as I mentioned. Prices have doubled inside Russia. We're talking about prices for milk and bread and vodka. They're all double. I mean, people go, whoa, they don't have any money anyway. Okay? And the Russian banks have doubled their interest rate from 9.5% to 20%. You need to borrow money in Russia, it's 20% VIG. So all it is just... And there are protests in 50 cities across Russia. About 3,000 Russians have been arrested. It is illegal in Russia, all right, to demonstrate against the government. It's illegal. They can arrest you right away. So all it is chaos inside Russia is why Putin is agreeing to peace talks in Belarus, the neighboring country dominated by Russia, to Ukraine. So the Ukrainian government and the Russian government are talking in Belarus. Now, I'm going to be cynical about this because I don't know, what's happening there. But I know Putin had to do it so that he can report, oh, no, we're engaged in peace talks for his own people. This is, people think that Putin can do this and just strut around. Look what happened to Saddam Hussein. He started with invading Kuwait and he wound up with a rope around his neck. Now, granted, Russia's a lot more powerful than Iraq, but it's the same kind of mindset. So Putin was relying on China, right, to throw in with him. No, that has not happened. So in the UN, China's ambassador says his country supports negotiations. I love this. All right. But does not approve any actions that may exacerbate tensions. So they're not throwing in with Putin. China's not throwing in with him because China knows it could get hurt economically if it does. Okay? That is huge. And here is the piece de resistance. China's bank in Singapore, huge bank. He controls all the money flow to China from Southeast Asia, has stopped financing Russian oil trades, not taking any Russian money to buy oil in Singapore. Now, I don't think you've heard that anywhere. And I give my credit to my staff that dug that out. Because I said, watch China, give me a report on what China's doing. Now, if that Chinese bank, which again is enormous, not taking any Russian money, will not broker transactions to buy Russian oil in Southeast Asia, that's huge. All right, so you can see the octopus that Putin has on his neck. All right, and Putin himself is finished as a credible world leader, no matter what happens. He can never come back. This is why I didn't think he would invade. Remember, I made that mistake. Because Putin's about Putin. So now he's got all his stolen billions, and he stole that money. It's not government salary money in Switzerland that Putin has. He stole it. All that money's frozen. Okay? His reputation throughout the world is in tatters. China's not even backing him up. Where is this guy, little Vlad? Where is he? And it's not like he can say, oh, I made a mistake, come home, the troops from Ukraine. He can't do that. That would show weakness inside Russia, and the world wouldn't accept it anyway as a penance for Putin. So Putin no longer will be able to participate in world events. All right? He won't. He's not going to be at any of the economic summits. His soccer team can't play anywhere. The Russian national hockey team won't be able to play anywhere. All right? Everything that Russia has changed in 5 days. Everything. The entire country. And there is nothing good about it. Again, that is why I'm a logical thinker. I said, he's not going to waste his legacy and devastate his country for a stupid invasion of Ukraine, which doesn't get him anywhere. He's not going to do that. That was my thinking. Now, there is a school of thought that says he's insane, that Putin's insane. We'll find out. Okay, because if he does invade a NATO country, that's a shooting war. That will happen. Okay? And if he's got his nuke boys, one nuke, and Russia is vaporized. Vaporized. The whole country. That's how serious this nuke stuff is. They're not going to play games with nukes. Anybody ever uses a nuke on this planet, their country's wiped out. Okay, remember, France has nuclear weapons, Britain has nuclear weapons, Israel has nuclear weapons, the United States is the largest arsenal you could on the planet, could blow up the planet 1,000 times. There's not going to be anybody left standing in Russia if Putin were to do it. And the only way anybody would ever do that is if they were mad, M-A-D, insane. Is Putin insane? Now, if he is, certainly the Politburo's got to know it. And the military's got to know it. If he's crazy, they have to know. And that's the only way you get rid of this guy, this little rodent, from inside Russia. He can be deposed by the military like that. It's the military that's keeping him there. Military can take him out. Politburo doesn't mean anything over there, because if you don't toe Putin's line, you get a bullet in the back of the head. They're going to toe Putin's line until they know that there's a strong presence that can remove him, which would be the Russian military. Could happen. So again, I go back to this question. Where's the positive for Putin? Where is it? There's not one. And that's what we're dealing with. A guy who screwed himself right into the wall. So now's the time to take him out, Joe Biden, to crush Putin. So he's gone somehow. Now, we have CIA all over the place in Russia. They got to be reporting back to us how stable or unstable Putin's position is. We've got assets all over the place in that country. Okay? So the CIA and the NSA and all the American intel, they know pretty much how it's going in Russia inside. I don't know. All I can give you are the stated facts, which I have, in a clear, concise way, which I have. So I'm not optimistic or pessimistic here, because I don't know how insane Putin is. But I'm telling you, he didn't have any cards. When China, you think Putin's ruthless? China? But they're basically saying, we're not going to throw in with this guy because it's going to hurt us too much. So, hey, Vlad, you're on your own, pal. That's a good thing. That's the best thing that happened. And again, you're not going to hear this. Attention savvy investors looking for predictable monthly cash flow. How about double-digit targeted bonus returns? If you want the safety and security of a real estate investment, but without the hassles of being a landlord, you probably heard of NRIA. NRIA is an industry-leading real estate development firm in its 15th year. They develop in strategically located, lower-risk, high-demand neighborhoods that are based on supply-demand imbalance. They are a great fit for safety-oriented investors who want cash flow and diversification in carefully chosen real estate. So you can learn more about the NRIA Real Estate Development Fund at nria.net, or you can call 800-800-1414. That's easy. 800-800-1414.
An offer of securities is only made by the NRIA Private Placement Memorandum. Read it first. Past performance does not guarantee future results. NRIA is a real estate development firm. Learn more at nria.net.
All right, time now for the final thought of the day, blaming others. So you saw it in Ukraine. Right away when the invasion happened, people blaming Biden, it'll be Putin, this, and NATO, and that. Everybody's blaming everybody. Okay, so we're used to this in this world. But personally, I have to say that sometimes I blame others for stuff that's my fault. Now, I have tried and I have improved on that. Just this morning, some stupid thing happened. Annoying, but it was my fault. But my first thought was, who did that? And then I went, it was you. And I hate making mistakes. I mean, that's a character flaw on my part. I did a, self-forgiveness thing a few weeks ago. I have trouble with that. Forgiving myself or just saying, everybody makes mistakes. When I make a mistake, I brood about it. It's that Irish brooding thing. But the tendency is to try to blame somebody else right off the bat. Kids do that. I mean, my urchins do that all the time. They screw up and, no, it's not my fault. You know. All right? But that gets us nowhere. Because if you make a mistake, the most important thing is you don't want to make it again. Right? And if it's your fault, the only way you're not going to make it again is to not do what you did or didn't do. So it's easy, but it isn't easy because human nature dictates it's always somebody else's fault. And then if you're a narcissist, and we got a lot of them in America, then you can never admit it's your mistake. Ever. That's the mental malady of narcissism can't ever admit a mistake. If you know somebody who will never admit he or she is wrong, and notice I do use the pronouns he or she, then you know a narcissist, and you better be very careful. They will turn on you. Thank you for watching and listening to the No Spin News. We'll see you tomorrow. If you are stuck in a timeshare and you haven't called Lone Star Transfer yet, what are you waiting for? Lone Star Transfer has helped more than 16,000 happy customers. They are family-owned, have a 99% success rate. Their process is done legally, ethically, and quickly. I mean, does it get better than that? The team at Lone Star Transfer will keep you informed every step of the way until you are legally and permanently released from your timeshare. So, don't pay another penny for a timeshare you don't use. Get peace of mind today with Lone Star Transfer. They guarantee the release of all liability to your timeshare in writing and in a specific time frame. Give Lone Star Transfer a call for a free no-obligation consultation. 855-551-7066, 855-551-7066, or online at LoneStarTransfer.com.
Bill O'Reilly is back on TV and only on The First. No Spin News, every weeknight at 8 p.m. Eastern, only on The First.